mashups on Hits One. I'm Ryan. That's Stan.
Hey.
That's Nicole.
Hey.
And in our studio with lots of sports confusion going on is Gracie Abrams.
That was a dangerous thing to wear a Red Sox hat in New York City.
Let me paint the scene for you guys. She's got on a Cleveland Browns t-shirt and a Boston Red Sox ball cap. Get your thing together, child.
I start sobbing on air. Happy Thursday, everyone.
Sorry, we didn't mean to pick on you right away.
No, please. I love being talked about.
Okay. Are you a Red Sox fan?
I'm a Red Sox fan. This is just a really soft shirt that I am borrowing from a friend.
Okay.
Isn't that like the best? I had a shirt that was so like soft and worn, and it had holes everywhere, and holes that you didn't want the holes to be.
I know, that's always the way.
My man was just like, get rid of it. He's like, I'm gonna burn it. And I was like, I'll kill you.
Yeah,
I don't know, like a really old good T-shirt. I feel
Very
like
comfortable.
It's like a blankie.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's what's happening today.
Okay.
I apologize for the confusion. But,
No, we dig it. We dig it.
you know.
So I've been reading a lot about the way you write and your process, and I felt like I identified with you a little bit because I don't write music like you, but I try to creatively write, and I feel like I'm a binge writer that like everything comes out all at once,
Stream of consciousness,
and I can go 2 or 3 months and nothing happens, and all of a sudden like I have to write everything, and I feel like you might be a little bit like that.
I definitely write all the time, and it feels stream of consciousness when it's not in songwriting form. Sometimes in songwriting form too, but I journal constantly, so it's kind of all a mess, you know? It's like my notes app is the scariest place in the world, I think.
How long is it? Like if you went in there, how much data is really there?
It's so brutal. There's so much, but it's great. I don't know. It's always just, it's how I deal with feelings.
You know, Gracie, we recently caught up to Dua Lipa, and she was telling us a story about she had went to school with some girls, like I think it was middle school or high school, and the girls actually saw her sitting alone, and then they palled with her and made her go to the lunch table, and she's friends with them to this day. I understand that you went to the Archer School of Girls.
Yeah.
And I want to know if any of those girls survived the cut, meaning you're still friends with them.
You know what's
to this day.
so strange is my like oldest friends are friends that I've had pre-high school by a long time. Like my I was so lucky to grow up in like elementary school or even like preschool with families who were all like East Coast based. Like our parents happened to get to know each other, and like mommy and me and whatever, and kind of like get along and have similar values. And ultimately I was raised with these groups, you know, kind of 9 families. Every Friday we'd have pizza in the park together, and they're like cousins or, you know, siblings at this point is what it feels like. My Archer School for Girls experience, I weirdly, like, I loved that place so much. I loved my teachers so much. I didn't feel like I had very many friends. I did a lot of theater in high school, and that was kind of where I felt like, oh, that was my community. But I don't, it's strange. I don't know. It's a weird, the high school is such a weird one.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
it can be
actually
tough.
torturous.
Yeah.
It's strange. I loved being around all girls, and then that totally was like the through line for me to end up going to Barnard, which is an all women's college, and I love that place so much. Yeah,
Didn't you co-write most of your album with a middle school friend with Audrey
I did.
Hepburn?
Yes,
That's so cool.
yeah. She's like we live together now too, so we
You do?
can't get enough. You
Look
know.
at that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And that was just like decided because like why not? We're working together sort of now. We're old friends. And
No, it was like honestly, it was just living with someone who knows you that well. You don't have you don't have the luxury of hiding the way you feel, because you walk downstairs in the morning and it's like she sees through me entirely and it's like I see you.
What's going on?
and
Rough night, honey.
Yes, no, seriously. And honestly, especially because I've been on tour so much over the past couple of years, it's like anytime we do get to be in the same environment, we're like feverishly catching each other up. And she had never written music before, but she's a writer who I've loved forever. Like she is a screenwriter, and we've written stories all through college. We'd like sit across the table from each other at dinner, bring a notebook and like go line for line, whatever. So that didn't feel like new to us. But the songwriting aspect of it was. But yeah, we just sit in our couch. And
Do you still throw up before you get on stage? Or is she
been a minute.
Yeah.
No, honestly, that was like before I knew what it was, all of the anticipatory anxiety that doesn't settle your stomach. I was like totally projectile vomiting.
What happens before you go on stage now? You just like a couple deep breaths, or do you have like what happens if you're not?
Yeah, we huddle.
Okay, like a huddle.
Yeah, we huddle.
Like a go
and-
team huddle?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's we talk about through our feelings. Like, no, it's just great. Well, honestly, everyone that I'm lucky enough to tour with, it also feels like a a home away from home kind of group of people. It's like, so I'm lucky in all spaces that I'm lucky enough to work in. I have people who I trust a lot. So it makes it easy.
I think a lot of people look back on their past and they have a moment of, oh God, I can't believe I did that. But somebody who's a songwriter and writes about so many personal things in their life, do you ever look back at a song and go, oh God, I can't believe I felt that way?
Yes.
Or like,
all the time.
What's a good example?
All of my songs.
Every single one.
Seriously, like they're all like time capsules, and I was talking about it with a friend recently, but like songwriting can feel so embarrassing even in real time often, because it's like, at least for me, the reason I started writing in the first place is because I preferred it over talking to people and like dealing with the confrontation of someone else who has perspective that is probably actually like wiser than mine.
Right.
But there's like something about dealing with things in isolation that always, I don't know if it was like a romantic thing to me or something, but it just felt like something I could control, I suppose. And now anytime I put music out, the likelihood of me feeling differently about a person or a relationship or a situation within a month of it being out in the world, like it's very frequently the case that I feel radically different all the time. But isn't that like your 20s?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, while you were writing and recording this album, I know that you had a crush, which you said embarrassingly was the first time that you ever had that feeling. Have you ever been?
First time I had like a mega crush and I was like, I don't know where I stand with this person.
Okay. Does this person know who they are? Have you performed this song for them?
I mean, the album's out, so like everyone
it's
I honestly, one of the greatest gifts for me about this album in particular was like getting to apply just like thoughtful, like respectful communication ahead of release with anyone and everyone that I wrote about.
Okay.
Because I have not done that in the past, and that sucks. Like, that's a shitty way to be. Yeah. And I don't want to be that way.
Okay.
So yes, totally. Everyone's aware.
Everyone's aware. They're like, yeah, this one's me.
All right.
We're at Morning Mashup on Instagram. Gracie Abrams is here, and you're about to go on tour. And the one thing that I noticed about your tour is you're playing some amazing venues. You're playing the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville. You're playing the Greek in LA.
It's sold out, by the way. Would you say it's completely sold out?
Yeah. You're playing at Radio City Music Hall here. Mm-hmm. Do you understand sort of the history and significance of these venues, or do you get there and someone's like, oh, this happened here in this year?
Oh my God. I know enough to know that it's ridiculously cool. I feel just so overwhelmed by the fact that we get to play these rooms, and it's especially as someone who didn't grow up with the inclination to perform. Mm-hmm. I totally didn't even let myself go there. Like with my imagination, it wasn't something that I was too scared to dream it up.
To put yourself on the list with other people that have played there.
Yeah. And so to do it this year is just going to be a good time, I think. Like I feel whenever we're not on the road, I miss the faces of the people that are generous enough to show up and spend their time and energy and like money that way. It's like crazy.
You know, Gracie, we got to tell you, we actually saw you perform. We went to the show in Newark. And we saw you open up. Yeah, we were all there. Oh. And you're just wonderful. You really need to see her.
Yes.
So if you get a chance, get some tickets if they're not sold out already. Good luck. And go see Gracie.
I mean, there are those venues, and then there's stadiums like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, and like hopping on stage with like a Taylor. Like, what was the first time that you hop on like a stadium stage? That would make me vomit. That's when I would be like, you know what? This is next level.
I remember the first night of the Eras tour. I was just shaky. Like that was scary. That was scary. But honestly, within, I'd say actually, as soon as like you walked into the stadium before the show at all, her whole team, everyone who works on that tour is so passionate about being there and so excited about the thing, and like is aware that I think I just got to see like, okay, every single person who's here is instrumental to making this whole thing happen. And everyone's so kind and so warm. And it is so obvious just as I've gotten to know Taylor over the past couple of years as a friend and a mentor, really, it's like so clear that kind of spirit is just a deep reflection of who she is as a person. So there was something that made it less daunting knowing that everyone there is just around to support one another. It's really cool.
Now, speaking of everyone's probably seen this video. What I want to know, were you a firefighter in another life?
Me?
I mean, how were you so calm when
I was
the
useless.
apartment was on fire?
I was useless. Like, I was so useless. I was like,
you were filming. You did what like I would do.
I was 10 feet away being like,
someone falls. Do I help them? No, I start filming. There's a fire. The whole place.
I know. She snapped into it so fast. It was very impressive.
But you were calm.
Yeah. Where did you get this calmness from? Your mom, your dad, what?
The wine.
Hey, speaking of your dad, we're wishing him a happy birthday today.
Tomorrow. Oh, yes.
Today. I love that we know Dad's birthday.
Now,
Yes.
let me ask you something.
Happy
What
birthday,
did you get
Dad.
your dad? What did you get your dad for his birthday?
I can't reveal.
Oh, you can't?
air.
Oh, come on.
Is he hard to shop for?
Well, our family is very like, we all write really good letters to each other. That's kind of always been the way. So
I love that.
There's a long letter.
How was Wembley this past weekend? I mean, was that like, how long does it take to plan? Was that pre-planned? Did you know that you were going to be doing that?
I mean, I definitely knew enough to get to London for sure.
Okay.
It was just the timing of the whole thing was really sick because the album came out 2 days prior to the night that we played together, and it's just insane to what it felt like. Honestly, it felt kind of like coming home because we've been off the tour for a handful of months now, and I'd missed it so much. And seeing everyone in the tunnel of the stadium, every single person on the team, you're like, holy shit, hey, like big hug,
right.
Tears, miss you so much. See you again in the fall, which is the fact that we get to go back is so exciting and such a relief because I can't imagine that tour not existing. When she said the other night at one of her shows, like, oh, this tour will end in December, I was like, wait. Yeah. I've never even considered the fact that that will happen. I'm so excited for everyone to like get to hopefully rest and all that, but I'm gonna miss it like crazy.
Did you help Travis get his outfit on for his debut?
I didn't get him ready, but before we both went on, we were in the tent and he was like, he went on right before I did, I think 2 songs or something. He's like, I'll mess up, so you look really good.
Thanks, Trav.
Part of the fun of watching the whole Eras tour, not being there, is seeing who shows up in the VIP tent, right? Like, what other celebrities? Was there ever a night that you heard that someone was there to watch and you're like, oh, wait, they're going to, like, you were a little starstruck of someone who's going to watch you perform?
You know who was there this past weekend was Paul McCartney.
Oh, I know.
Like, you're like, ha.
Like a little kid. What?
Sir Paul McCartney.
Yes, Sir Paul, I'm sorry. Yes, it's like, what are we talking about? But the thing is it's just like a community of really supportive people. It's truly everyone is there, whether you're in the tent or in the top row on like the stadium. It's like everyone is there because there is such deep joy and feeling associated with all of the music that she's put out over the past 18 years. And it's like, I don't know. It's a really magical thing. You know,
we're playing Risk nonstop, but I mean, we need to discuss us, period. Yes. Tell us about writing with Taylor and how that whole experience was.
It was the best time. It was the best time. It was super spontaneous. And so that part just made it, 10 times more fun and also less stressful. I think if I had ever known going into any day of my life that like, oh, we're going to sit down and write together, I would probably like clam up or something.
Right.
Get freaked just, solely because I have admired her writing the most for my entire life. And, but she was talking about it at Wembley that she said this thing that I've not ever articulated before, but is real, that when you get to write with someone, you kind of see the whole thing. You like see the full picture of who they are, and like her enthusiasm and her passion that is associated with every single lyric is really like has set the bar extra high for me now, having been able to experience it firsthand. We had the best time. The song was totally a product of us having had a really long dinner conversation and, kind of catching up very similarly to the way that Audrey and I did the rest of the album. And that made it really fun because I was like, oh, okay, at the core of this record, the whole thing, it's kind of like just based in relationships that I really value and trust and like these people that I rely on. And who are way cooler and better than I am at something. Like I'm like that. I just get to learn and observe, and doing it at our house we had the greatest time.
We think you're the coolest.
That's kind.